Welcome back. This is Chicken Philosophy. Secret of the Golden Flower, Part 9, in which we will continue reading The Secret of the Golden Flower, picking up right where I think Edward left off. Nice choice, Editor Edward. It's interesting. It's different. Sorry, I got a little distracted there. So we're reading The Secret of the Golden Flower. If you would like to... Okay, before I point to the playlist, that's the Squid Game staff. Anyway, right. Before I point to the playlist, let me just let you know that there are two options. There's more than two options. As of right now, there's 8. Did I say this was part 8? Sorry, I'm a little confused today. So, okay, I'm going to point up there, and you're going to see a link. It's going to say The Secret of the Golden Flower. If you click it, it'll take you to the playlist for The Secret of the Golden Flower recitals here on Chicken Philosophy. If you would like to start at the beginning of The Secret of the Golden Flower, in other words, the Chinese text translated into English, then start with episode 6 or part 6. If, on the other hand, you would like to hear Carl Jung and Friedrich Wilhelm talk a lot for 5 episodes, about 2.5 hours, about The Secret of the Golden Flower and their experience with it from the sort of 1929, 1930 European perspective, talking to what they would term Westerners in 1929 and 1930. If you're interested in that, if that sounds interesting, then you can start with part 1. All right. Anyway, I am going to go ahead and I'm really digging this music, Editor Edward, I have to admit. I'm going to go ahead and do the I Ching at the beginning of every episode of Secret of the Golden Flower on Chicken Philosophy. We flip a coin, and in honor of the fact it's now the 7th of July, it was recently the 4th of July, and I have here this bicentennial celebration in honor of the 4th of July, which was, 3 days ago. It was the 248th anniversary of the United States of America, celebrating 248 years of representative democracy and the rule of law, which, as we all know, has recently come to an end as the Supreme Court has decided that they should go back to having a king. So, I am quite happy to be here in India. All right, anyway, but nonetheless, I'm going to flip this, and I'm going to call the one with the people standing on it heads, and the one with the train on it tails. So heads is the unbroken line, tails is the broken line. Let's see how it goes. Tails, broken line. Tails. Heads. Tails, tails, heads. All right, go ahead and turn up the music a bit while I look that one up. Okay, so that's Shen, Shen, Thunder, Thunder. And that's number 51. Right, the figure is called Shen, no surprise there, or the arousing, okay, or shock. All right, and the short little blurb here, which is all we read here, because this isn't an I Ching series, this is a Secret of the Golden Flower series, but on account of the connection, in honor of that, we do a little bit. The shock of unsettling events brings fear and trembling. Move toward a higher truth, and all will be well. I feel like that was on point, especially for those of you who are in the place where I come from. And all right, so I will go ahead and Editor Edward, what could you tell us what this music is? Oh, Editor Gwydion. all right. Could you? By the way, Editor Gwydion, I saw that you're back on the Martin Luther. You've decided that you don't need to have Pymander filling. Congratulations! That was yesterday's episode right there. I enjoyed your breakdown of everything. You had some good points to make in that one.
Thank you.
But as far as this song that we're hearing right now, could you tell us who is this? Where can we hear more of their music?
Yeah, that's Nini Music. There's a link. And this is, of course, a cover of Nothing Else Matters using traditional Chinese instruments. She plays a variety of traditional Chinese instruments. There's some original music and a lot of covers and stuff like that. Also, she's one of the artists featured on my new playlist, which is on my channel, Gwydion's Astral Coffee House, my own personal channel. And it's a playlist called Music for When You're Driving. You can check that out right there.
Thank you. It was a good choice, and I'm glad to be introduced to that. And you know, the playlist and everything, and I'm sure we'll be listening to that in our car. In fact, if you count me and Gwydion and Pymander and Edward as all part of one being, was just listening to that in the car as Priel and I went to the beach, and yeah, it looked like that. And it's pouring rain outside. You might hear a little bit of that. And yeah, it's a good playlist. Is there anything else? Cheers. Oh, this is Pine Morning Star Incense. Loosen up the old noodle a little bit. And you'll have to provide your own bread and salt and rose for those who know what I mean. All right. So anyway, Gwydion, could you put on something just a little less distracting? I'll leave it up to you. All right. Cool. Picking up right where somebody left off last time. One looks with both eyes at the tip of the nose. I can't read while I'm doing this, so I will do it later. Sits upright and in a comfortable position. Upright and in a comfortable. Well, we'll work on it. Actually, we've been working on it, so lotus works. Or half lotus. Don't force lotus. You don't want to kill your knees. If you try to force lotus position, you could do permanent damage to your knees that you'll have to live with for the rest of your life. So if you're going to do lotus, check out this video. Take it slow. I took like 3-4 months working up to it before I actually sat for a full 10 minutes in lotus. So that's my advice. And holds the heart to the center in the midst of conditions. I feel like this all ties in with the bicentennial coin and the I Ching. All right. The two are the same. What? In Taoism, it is called the yellow middle. In Buddhism, the center of the midst of conditions. The two are the same. It does not necessarily mean the middle of the head. It is only a matter of fixing one's thinking on the point which lies exactly between the two eyes. Then all is well. The light is something extremely mobile. When one fixes the thought on the midpoint between the two eyes, the light streams in of its own accord. It is not necessary to direct the attention especially to the central castle. In these few words, the most important thing is contained. Quote, "The center in the midst of conditions," end quote, is a very subtle expression. The center is omnipresent. Everything is contained in it. It is connected with the release of the whole process of creation. The condition is the portal. The condition, that is, the fulfillment of this condition, makes the beginning, but it does not bring about the rest with inevitable necessity. The meaning of these two words is very fluid and subtle. Fixing contemplation is indispensable. It ensures the making fast of the enlightenment. Only one must not stay sitting rigidly if worldly thoughts come up, but one must examine where the thought is, where it began, and where it fades out. Nothing is gained by pushing reflection further. I don't know if this is, the best advice, but the advice, if you want it, that I have to give on this subject is to burn it, to just let the thought go directly to the hot coals in a little cauldron, the altar of burnt offerings, if you will, as a symbol, if you're into the Old Testament of the Bible. Anyway, or the Tanakh, if you will. Be sure to wash your hands afterward. I don't know, you don't have to wash your hands afterward. It's just, as far as when you're wanting to silence your mind, this is actually something I use to keep my thoughts from keeping me awake for an extra hour and a half at night. I whatever thought comes to mind, whatever it is, it just goes directly into the fire, and I find I'm able to fall asleep much more quickly that way. All right. Yes. But that's different from what is being recommended in this book. So, separate things. Nothing is gained by pushing reflection further. One must be content to see where the thought arose and not seek beyond the point of origin. The idea, if you'd like, sorry if you're here specifically for this and annoyed whenever I start talking. The idea being that the place that I'm going, and this, I don't know, there's debate, it's debatable, but the place that I'm intending to go, the place that I'm going when I'm going to sleep, I don't necessarily want to spend whatever REM is, or the conscious part, the active part of the sleeping experience, in this world, in a reflection of this world, or processing the things of this world. I would like to go beyond and experience other levels and such. So by putting it in the fire, I am affirming that I don't need to be stuck on it. By exercising the muscle of being able to put it in the fire, I am allowing myself to more quickly transition from this level to levels beyond, rather than just kind of like hovering right above the material world, kind of going, oh, my mother, oh, like the past, oh, anxiety about the future, oh, countries and planet Earth. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I know what you're saying, all right?
All right. What? Where was I? Yes. One must be content to see where the thought arose and not seek beyond the point of origin. For to find the heart, parentheses, consciousness, to get behind consciousness with consciousness, end parentheses, that cannot be done. Together we want to bring the states of the heart to rest. That is true contemplation. What contradicts it is false contemplation. That leads to no goal. When the flight of the thoughts keeps extending further, One should stop and begin contemplating. Let one contemplate and then start fixating again. That is the double method of making fast the enlightenment. It means the circulation of the light. The circulation is fixation. The light is contemplation. Fixation without contemplation is circulation without light. Contemplation without fixation is light without circulation. Take note of that. I'm just reminded of how in the introduction Carl Jung was talking about how people were accusing him by writing by introducing, I guess there's an introduction at the back that used to be at the front in the original edition or whatever, but he wrote a second introduction that was saying, I'm not writing this introduction intending for people to practice this as a method. This is just an intellectual curiosity, a psychological gee whiz to go, isn't it weird? And, like, he was like making fun of the readers that actually put this into practice. So, I mean, I think that that's a flaw in Carl Jung, that he needed to, a flaw. The same can be said for Lord Buddha, in that when the community, when random passers-by would say, you really expect us to believe that you have anything to offer when you're doing something completely innocuous, or one of your 300 monks at the time is standing with his arms akimbo and looking at people. And so then Lord Buddha would get everyone together and say, from here on until the end of time, if you would be a follower of mine, thou shalt not stand with thine arms akimbo and look at people. And it's like, really? Is this important? And it's like, well, it was important to him at the time because he wanted people to take him seriously. And people weren't going to take him seriously, he felt, if there were monks standing with their arms akimbo and looking at people. And similarly, Carl Jung wanted to make it clear. He wanted to go on record saying, hey, I don't think people should put this into practice. It's some wacky Chinese 17th century text. I just thought it was interesting, and Frederick Wilhelm translated it, and it's just sort of like, this is an interesting thing to read and think about, not put into practice. So I would say disregard Carl Jung's trying to maintain his reputation with his with the budding psychiatry community of the early 1930s. And if you want to take some of this to heart, feel free. If you want to look at it as kind of, I don't know, feel free. That's my advice. Anyway. The general meaning of this section is that the protection of the center is important for the circulation of the light. Now, this is text, again, that's small. It's not a footnote. I don't think it's Wilhelm. I think it's like a commentary that someone else did 200 years ago on something that was written 300 years ago, or someone did 300 years ago on something that was written 400 years ago, whatever it is. The general meaning of this section is that the protection of the center is important for the circulation of the light. The last section dealt with the theme that the human body is a very valuable possession when the primal spirit is master, but when it is used by the conscious spirit, the latter brings it about that day and night the primal spirit is scattered and wasted. When it is completely worn out, the body dies. Now the method is described whereby the conscious spirit can be subjected and the primal spirit protected. That is impossible if one does not begin by making the light circulate. It is like this. If a splendid house is to be erected, a fine foundation must first be built. When the foundation is firm, then only can the work proceed and the base of the walls be deeply and solidly grounded. and the pillars and walls built up. Mid-sentence, there was an illustration. Editor Edward, or Editor Gwydion, will put that up on the screen for you. Okay. If a foundation is not laid in this way, how can the house be completed? The method of cultivating life is exactly like that. The circulation of the light is to be compared with the foundation of the building. When the foundation stands firm, how quickly it can be built upon. To protect the yellow middle with the fire of the Spirit, that is the work of building. Therefore the master makes especially clear the method with both eyes at the tip of the nose, to lower the lids, to look within, sit quietly with upright body, and fix the heart on the center in the midst of conditions. This microphone's been ultra sensitive lately. I don't know if I need a new microphone or just a new cord. I know sometimes because I'm used to the microphone being a little bit like soft and kind of like I have to kind of do this and speak loudly to like get it to sound normal. But now if I do that, it's like, it's like too much. So yeah, I think I can sit upright rather than leaning toward the microphone as I tend to do. So I will practice this while I preach it. All right. Sit down daily to meditate, conserve the seed. Wait, what? I got lost. Yes, the body upright and fix the heart on the center in the midst of conditions. Keeping the thoughts on the space between the two eyes allows the light to penetrate. Thereupon the spirit crystallizes and enters the center in the midst of conditions. The center in the midst of conditions is the lower elixir field, the place of energy, solar plexus. The master, that solar plexus is in parentheses, if you were wondering. The master hinted at this secretly when he said that at the beginning of practice one must sit in a quiet room, the body like dry wood, the heart like cooled ashes. Let the lids of both eyes be lowered, then look within and purify the heart, wash the thoughts, stop pleasures, and conserve the seed. I think he's talking to boys specifically with that. Sit down daily to meditate with legs crossed. Let the light in the eyes be biological, boys. You know what I mean. Semen generating humans. Okay. Let the light in the eyes be stopped. Let the hearing power of the ear be crystallized and the tasting power of the tongue diminished. That is, the tongue should be laid to the roof of the mouth. I'll do that later after I'm done reading, because obviously it's hard to talk when the tongue's. Let the breathing through the nose be made rhythmical. And rhythmical, what? Rhythmical, and the thoughts fixed to the dark door. If the breathing is not first made rhythmical, it is to be feared that there will be difficulty in breathing because of stoppage. I would say don't worry about that. The body, there's the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system, and the parasympathetic nervous system will kick in and keep you breathing even after you've stopped consciously breathing. But consciously breathing is good because it activates the parasympathetic nervous system. Never mind. I mean, brings it to the fore. It does something where, never mind, I'll just keep reading. Okay. When one closes the eyes, then one should take as a measure a point on the bridge of the nose, which lies not quite half an inch below the intersection point of the line of vision, where there is a little bump on the nose. Then one begins to collect one's thoughts. The ears make the breathing rhythmical. What? Body and heart are comfortable and harmonious. The light of the eyes must shine quietly, and for a long time neither sleepiness nor distraction must set in. The eyes do not look forward, they lower their lids and light up what is within. It shines on this place. The mouth does not speak or laugh. One closes the lips and breathes inwardly. Breathing is at this place. The nose smells no odors. Smelling is at this place. The ear does not hear things outside. Hearing is at this place. The whole heart watches over what is within. Its watching is at this place. The thoughts do not stray outward. True thoughts have duration in themselves. If the thoughts endure, the seed is enduring. If the seed endures, the energy endures. If the energy endures, then will the spirit endure. The spirit is thought. Thought is the heart. The heart is fire. The fire is the elixir. When one looks at what is within in this way, the wonders of the opening and shutting of the gates of heaven will be inexhaustible. But the deeper secrets cannot be effected without making the breathing rhythmical. If the pupil begins and cannot hold his thoughts to the place between the two eyes, if he closes the eyes, but the energy of the heart does not enable him to view the space of energy, the cause is most probably that the breathing is too loud and hasty, and other evils arise from this because body and heart are kept busy trying to suppress forcibly the uprush of energy. And quick breath. If the thoughts are held only to the two eyes, but the spirit is not crystallized in the solar plexus, parentheses, the center in the midst of conditions, end parentheses, it is as if one had mounted to the hall, but had not yet entered the inner chamber. Then the spirit fire will not develop. The energy remains cold, and the true fruit will hardly manifest itself. Therefore the master harbors the fear lest, in their efforts, men only fix their thoughts on the place on the nose, but fail to think of fixing their ideas on the space of energy. That is why he used the comparison of the mason with the plumb line. The mason uses the plumb line only in order to see if his wall is perpendicular or slanting, and for this the string serves as a guideline. When he has determined the direction, he can begin the work, but then he works on the wall, not on the plumb line. That is clear. From this it is seen that fixing the thoughts between the eyes means only what the plumb line does to the mason. The master refers again and again to this because he fears his meaning might not be understood. And even if the pupils have grasped the way of doing the thing, he fears they might interrupt their work. And so he says several times, quote, only after 100 days of consistent work, only then is the light genuine. Only then can one begin work with the spirit fire. End quote. If one proceeds in a collected fashion after 100 days, there develops spontaneously in the light a point of the genuine creative light, parentheses, yang, and parentheses. The pupils must examine that with sincere hearts. All right, that's the end of the section. That was section 3. And so I feel like that's a good enough place to stop for today. Whoo-wee! That was something. That was something. I look forward to listening to that later. And, yeah. All right. Well, I I've got a blank mind. I mean, I don't have anything to say. I can't think of what to say or add. Gwydion, can we have a little bit more, like a different track from that same artist? Cool. Thank you all for joining me on this journey of getting to know the secret of the golden flower. And next time it's going to be Gwydion reading Meccan Revelations. Right? No, it's going to be Edward reading Meccan Revelations. And, all right, well, check out that playlist that Gwydion pointed out, and with the music if you want. Interesting music while driving. I think there's only 8 tracks there right now, but we'll add to it as things seem appropriate to add to it. And, all right, I guess that's it for now. And wishing everyone the best. I wish you peace, love, and prosperity. And most of all, and most importantly, I wish you a sincere and heartfelt